recesses of 16th century Germany, where the dense forests whispered secrets and the moon hung low, casting an ethereal glow upon the land, there thrived a tale that would echo through the ages, a tale of terror, blood, and the thin veil between man and beast. It was in the small town of Bedburg, nestled amid the rolling hills and dark woods, that a man named Peter Stumpp became the center of a chilling narrative that would haunt the region for centuries. Peter Stumpp was not a stranger to the people of Bedburg. A farmer by trade, he was known for his robust stature and hard work, but also for an unsettling aura that surrounded him. Whispers danced through the taverns and marketplaces, tales of his peculiar habits and the strange events that seemed to follow him. The villagers often spoke of the shadows that seemed to cling to him, of the way his eyes glinted with a feral light when the moon was full. Yet, it was not until the summer of 1509 that the darkness truly descended upon Bedburg. As the harvest approached, a series of gruesome disappearances began to plague the town. Men, women, and children vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the echoes of their laughter and the lingering scent of fear. The villagers were gripped by panic, their hearts heavy with dread as they huddled together, sharing stories of the beast that roamed the night. It was said that the creature was a wolf, but not just any wolf. This was a beast that walked on two legs, a monstrous aberration that feasted upon the flesh of the innocent. The atmosphere grew thick with suspicion, and soon, the finger of blame pointed squarely at Peter Stumpp. The townsfolk recalled the tales of his strange behavior, the way he would vanish into the woods for days, returning with a wild look in his eyes and blood on his hands. The whispers grew louder, and fear morphed into a fervor, leading the villagers to confront Stumpp in the dead of night. Torches flickering like the last remnants of reason, in a dimly lit chamber, Stumpp was seized and brought before the town's magistrate. The air was thick with tension as accusations flew like arrows. The magistrate, a stern figure with a furrowed brow, demanded the truth. It was then that Stumpp, trembling yet defiant, began to unravel a tale so chilling that it would send shivers down the spine of even the most hardened soul. With a voice that trembled like the leaves in a winter gale, Stumpp confessed to his crimes. He claimed that for 25 years he had roamed the woods as a beast, driven by an insatiable hunger that could only be satiated by the flesh of his fellow man. The confessions poured forth, each more horrifying than the last. He spoke of nights spent stalking the unsuspecting, of ambushes under the cloak of darkness, and of the blood that stained his hands. But it was not just the acts of murder that chilled the hearts of his captors. It was the revelation of a pact he had made, a dark agreement with the devil himself. According to Stumpp, it all began when he was a young man, a time when ambition and desperation intertwined. He had wandered deep into the forest, where he encountered a figure cloaked in shadows, a being that promised him power and freedom from the shackles of humanity. In exchange for his soul, the figure bestowed upon him a magical belt, a talisman that granted him the ability to transform into a wolf at will. With this gift, he was no longer bound by the limitations of his mortal form. He could hunt, roam, and feast like the predator he had become. The villagers listened in rapt horror as Stumpp recounted the details of his transformation. He described the sensation of his bones shifting, the rush of primal instincts flooding his senses, the intoxicating thrill of the hunt. He spoke of the taste of warm flesh, the exhilaration of the chase, and the sheer ecstasy of giving in to the beast that lay dormant within him. The magistrate, both fascinated and repulsed, pressed for more details, seeking to understand the mind of a man who had willingly embraced such darkness. Yet, as the confession continued, the line between truth and the grotesque began to blur. It became evident that Stumpp's words were not merely a recounting of events. They were a tapestry woven from the threads of fear, guilt, and perhaps madness. The magistrate, aware of the brutal methods employed to extract confessions, pondered the validity of Stumpp's claims. Were these the ramblings of a deranged mind, or was there a kernel of truth buried within the horror? As the days turned into weeks, the trial of Peter Stumpp became the talk of the region, drawing curious onlookers and fervent believers alike. The church, eager to assert its authority over the supernatural, took a keen interest in the proceedings. They sought to unravel the mystery of the werewolf, to understand the nature of evil that had taken root in their midst. The townsfolk were divided. Some saw Stumpp as a monster, while others viewed him as a victim of dark forces beyond his control. As the trial progressed, the magistrate ordered the use of torture to extract further confessions. The methods were brutal, designed to break the spirit of the accused and elicit the most damning of admissions. Stumpp, though racked with pain, remained steadfast in his claims. He spoke of the children he had lured into the woods, of the screams that echoed through the night, and of the blood that had stained the earth. With each confession, the townsfolk recoiled, horrified yet entranced by the macabre spectacle unfolding before them. But amidst the horror, doubt began to fester. The magistrate, a man of reason, started to question the integrity of the confessions. How much of what Stumpp had said was born from the depths of his own mind, twisted by guilt and fear, and how much was a product of the inhumane methods used against him? The line between reality and the grotesque became increasingly blurred, leaving the magistrate grappling with the weight of his own conscience. As the trial reached its climax, the atmosphere grew electric with anticipation. The townsfolk gathered in the square, their faces illuminated by the flickering torches, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. Stumpp was brought forth, a broken man, his spirit seemingly crushed under the weight of his confessions. The magistrate stood before the crowd, ready to deliver a verdict that would seal Stumpp's fate. In a voice that trembled with authority, the magistrate declared Stumpp guilty.